Good morning. Welcome to Sealand News Brief. Today is August the 3rd. It's already in August. Okay, today's news brief, we will talk about, again, interest rate and the Po털브리지. I'm going to show you the maps. Po털브리지 in New Jersey, now they start renovation. It's about 1.6 billion project. And the ADM misses August 1st payment. We're going to talk about that. And the apartment rent increase taper off. Now it stops increasing and then probably going down. And WeWork, we know that WeWork company joins rush to offer office software to try to survive in this upheaval in the office market. And the U.S. factories are far from recession. U.S. factories, they're doing good. And the falling job openings signals cooling labor market. So far, we had a very good job openings, but it may cooling down. And keeping the mortgage in the family. In fact, we missed this news last week, so I want to add to this week. And the mortgage rate fall. Mortgage rate now, it went up, it climbed up to close to 6%, but now it's coming down to like 5.3 range. Okay, so let's take a look at each news brief. Well, as you can see, this week, 30-year fixed went down 4.625. And 15-year, 3.75. As you can see, it's different from the Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac announced, but this is independent mortgage lenders quote. Okay, so you have to consider that. And the 15-year, 3.75. In other words, a different category and different program, you can have the different mortgage rate. But now the typical commercial, not commercial, in the marketplace, through the mortgage brokers, usually we can get the below 5% now. And 10-year treasury yield is 2.625. It used to be 2.752 and went down. So yield went down, going down, and then other interest rate also going down, especially 30-year fixed rate. And 5-year is 4.375, and the 7-year is 4.625. Okay, and the first news is a Po털브리지 project did the groundbreaking. As the first phase of a gateway project, the Po털브리지 renovation has begun, and this bridge is about 450 trains are passing through daily through this bridge, and this bridge is interconnect railroads between NY and NJ. And this bridge is getting aged for about 112 years. Okay, let's take a look at, okay, this, you can see this picture here. Okay, this Po털브리지. This bridge is at the center. Okay, there is a center and it turns around. I think that's what I saw. Okay, just like that. And if you see the location, this is Newark area, and this is Secaucus, and this Manhattan, and this is Hackensack River, And this is a Po털브리지, very important railroad traffic. Okay, and so as a gateway project is basically replace the tunnel underneath. Okay, tunnel would be about here. Okay, replace this tunnel and connect it to the Penn Station, and also renovation of this Po털브리지. This is whole gateway project. So this is the first phase of the gateway project. Finally, it start. Okay, let me go back. Okay, so total cost is 1.6 billion, and 60% of the cost will be paid by federal, and remaining portion will be shared by New York and New Jersey. And the new bridge will be open in November 2025, and the project will complete by 2027. And what about Hudson River Tunnel project? It will be expected to begin in 2023. So next year, finally, gateway project, the tunnel construction will begin. Okay, 포털브리지는 조금 전에 지도부로 드렸지만은 뉴저지, 뉴욕의 기차 노선에 굉장히 중요한 그러한 다리인데요. 이게 가운데를 중심으로 이렇게 돌아가죠. 아마 브리지가. 그래서 배들이 지나갈 때는 돌리고, 그다음에 기차가 지나갈 때는 다시 제자리에 오고, 이런 식으로 유명한 브리지인데, 그것이 지금 이제 8월 1일 날 드디어 프로젝트를 시작을 했다. 한 1.6 빌리언이 들고요. 60%는 가보면 나머지는 뉴저지 스테이트에서 두 스테이트에서 감당한다. 그리고 이제 2025년이 되면 첫 번째 다리를 열 거고 27년에 가서 완성된다. 그리고 허슨 터널 프로젝트도 기억하시죠? 게이트웨이 프로젝트는 허슨 터널, 허슨 리버의 밑에 지금 터널이 2개 지나가는데 너무 오래돼서 그 밑으로 새 터널을 2개를 만드는데 2023년에 시작한다. 자, 이제 게이트웨이 프로젝트는 시작이 이제 된 거고요. 이 주위에 많은 이코노미를 살릴 수 있다. 우선 일하는 노동자들도 필요하지만은 그 주위에 또 그 공사를 위해서 또 이제 비즈니스들도 활성화될 수 있다. Okay, ADM project, ADM Megamall actually, an entertainment complex, they missed for August 1st deadline for payment, the interest for $290 million debt. And according to the bondholders by U.S. Bank Trust CEO, this developer, which is 555, they missed 8.8 million semi-annual interest payment to bondholders. And the American Dream project, this mall reported 60 million in losses last year because of pandemic, and they got sued from the neighboring towns saying they owe $9 million. But American Dream saying, well, there is some gray area of a starting date. In other words, fully occupied. The definition of fully occupied of tenants is not clear. That's what they arguing. And they expected when they come up with this project, ADM project, they expect 40 million visitors annually. And these attractions are quite different from other small the entertainment facilities. This is a kind of mega store. The facilities, 300 foot Ferris wheel. They have a Ferris wheel and the indoor ski and ice skating rink and amusement park and water park. It's like they made artificial beach, right? And so all amenities that 555 says separated from other traditional malls. By the way, 555 operates other, I think 3 malls, mega malls in US, including one in Miami. Also same name, American Dream in Miami, but this is American Dream in Netherlands. So same ADM, but so they said it will be different. Okay, they made a differentiation with other traditional malls. Okay, 그 아메리칸 드림이 계속 그 좀 어려운 소식이 들리죠. 그래서 8월 1일 날 $8.8 million interest payment를 해야 되는데 semi-annual interest payment을 해야 되는데 못했다. 그 작년에 그 보고가 팬데믹 때문에 지금 작년 1년 동안 60 million의 손해를 봤다. 그렇게 지금 보고를 했고요. 그리고 또 지금 $9 million 그 주위에 있는 타운들한테 거기도 뭐 타운 반드도 제공했고 뭐 여러 가지 그래서 지금 $9 million 수도 또 걸려 있고요. 아무튼 지금 몰에서는 1년에 한 4천만 명, 40 million 비지터를 예상을 했고요. 그리고 가보신 분들이 이제 알겠죠. 어마어마한 포실리티를 해놓고 다른 몰보다 이제 훨씬 그 스케일 면에 있어서 차이를 둔다 이렇게 지금 주장하고 있어서 앞으로 좀 두고 봐야 되겠죠. 낼 돈을 다 낼 수 있는지 안 그러면은 이제 또 디폴트를 하고 어떤 다른 또 주인이 사들여야 될지도 모르겠어요. Okay, next news is apartment rent increases taper off. So so far apartment rent increase was crazy. It's hot, but now it's tapering off. After more than a year of record run-ups in apartment rent, growth is starting to cool off, a trend that could help housing affordability and ease the rise in overall inflation. And nationally, average apartment rents rose 9.4% in second quarter compared to second quarter in 2021, the Costa Group said. While this is high by historical standards, but it is down from the more than 11% annual increase seen the previous 2 quarters. So first quarter and second quarter, we see 11-point increase from last year, but second quarter, anyway, previous 2 quarters, last 2021 fourth quarter and 2022 first quarter, the rose 11% around compared to a year ago, but now second quarter rent rose 9.4%, so a little bit tapering off. And of course, the run-up in rental prices has occurred alongside with increase in home sale prices. Okay. Now, home sale prices also now beginning to slightly decelerate, as we know. The softening also is being seen in single-family home renters, which, like apartment, has had record rent growth. Probably among us, even some investors really had a very, very good time for single family house rentals. Okay, but also the single family house rentals also softening. That's what they're saying. May was the first month since January 2021 that annual rent growth for single family homes didn't increase over the rate of the previous month. So up to May, continuously increased from previous month and then previous increase at the end of the month like that. But May didn't increase compared to April. That's what the core logic said. 이제 렌트 인크리즈가 조금 인크리즈 폭이 조금씩 줄어든다라는 보고가 들어왔고요. 지금 전국적으로 세컨드 쿼터에 이제 올해 세컨드 쿼터에 previous two quarter 그러니까 작년 4분기 올해 1분기보다 그때는 1년 전 대비 11%씩 올랐는데 지금 세컨드 쿼터에는 지금 1년 전 대비 9.4%가 올라서 올라가는 레이트이 줄어들었다. 그리고 이제 집값과 같이 계속 올라가고 있었는데 집값도 지금 조금 소프트해지고 있고 렌트도 소프트해지고 있다. 특히 그 싱글 패밀리 홈 렌털 있죠. 뭐 타운하우스도 포함이 되겠지만 싱글 홈 렌털이 아주 좋았죠. 그래서 그 블랙스톤 같은 큰 인베스터들이 대형 인베스터들이 수만 대씩 싱글홈을 사들이고 렌트 인컴으로 아주 즐겼는데 이제 싱글홈 렌털도 소프트해지기 시작했다. 그리고 계속적으로 올라갔는데 매에 와서 전번 달보다 안 올라간 달이 이제 매가 지금 처음이다. 그게 2021년 January 이후로, 그러니까 그 중간에는 계속 렌트가 올라갔었다는 얘기죠. 그래서 지금 코어 로직에서 지금 그런 발표를 했는데, 그러니까 2021년 January 이후에는 계속 그 전달보다 계속 올라갔던 건데, 그게 지금 올해 메이에 들어와서 5월달에 들어와서 올라가는 게 스탑했다. 그러니까 안 올라갔다 이런 얘기죠. 그래서 지금 테이퍼링 업 하고 있는 그런 상태다. 월스트리트 저널에서 보고가 있었고요. 지금 요것이 average national apartment rent인데 change from a year ago. 그러니까 그 퍼센티지가 1년 전 대비 올라간 퍼센티지라는 얘기죠. 그래서 이때가 이제 딱 보니까 벌써 팬데믹 때네요. 그러나 팬데믹이 벗어나면서 계속적으로 올라가서, 그러니까 이제 1년 전 대비 올라가는 레이시에 이게 계속 올라가서 2022년 지금 이제 피크를 여기 지나가고 있겠죠, 우리가. 그러니까 올라가는 이제 폭이 조금 줄어들었다. 그렇죠? 폭이 11% 정도에서 그래서 이제 조금 9.4% 정도까지 줄어들었다. 여기가 찍히네요. 네네. 지금 현재가 9.4% 줄었다. 그리고 2023년의 프로젝션이에요. 이거는 이 프로젝션이 이제 1년 전 대비 증가율이 이렇게 6%밖에 안 될 거고, 그다음에 계속 2003년을 지나면서 5% 이렇게 될 것 같다. 그러나 역시 인크리즈는 인크리즈예요. 근데 인크리즈 폭이 줄어든다. 1년 전 대비 각각. 오케이? 그렇게 보고 있어서 hopefully 이게 더 줄어들면 그러면은 싱글홈을 많이 가지고 있던 대형 인베스터들이 이제는 팔 때다 이렇게 생각한다면 집을 좀 내놓을 수 있지 않겠느냐. 그러면 또 마켓이 많이 달라질 수 있겠죠. 그래서 지금 대형 인베스터들이 집을 사들인 이유는 렌탈 값이 이렇게 1년 전 대비 올라가니까, 그죠? 11% 이렇게. 그러니까 이거의 큰 자본으로 생각하면 엄청난 이제 profit을 얻을 수 있었던 거죠. Okay, next news is again Wall Street Journal reported WeWork joins rush to offer office software. The WeWork is, of course, is very struggling company because of home from office style because after pandemic, so they're struggling. And about 9 months ago, they went public, stock market, and they launched a service named WeWork Workplace. Well, basically, they give away free office software tools, okay, which includes the software tools that WeWork had been using to power its locations. For the first time, WeWork is offering these tools to all tenants, regardless of WeWork membership. Okay, and so they tried to, their share price went down, but they tried to bring it up by offering like the other companies, like technology companies, are selling apps, data tools, and other software to landlords and office tenants. They following those companies who provides this kind of a software to a landlord and tenant for adjusting the hybrid workplaces. So right now, it appears to me the technology companies is developing and try to provide a lot of software tools which can make the productivity between work at home and actually work at office. So they have to somehow communicate and interconnect and all that kind of things. So their software tool is different. So now WeWork is trying to provide those kind of software to who? Landlords and tenants. Their landlords, building owners, and their tenants is companies, let's say. But WeWork isn't alone in looking into new business opportunities in upheaval in the office space industry caused by pandemic. Other companies like Cisco is very famous hardware company, Cisco, and also Honeywell International. They also want to get into software business. So then WeWork try to follow those trend. 그 WeWork이 굉장히 서바이벌하려고 힘든데요. 지금 아주 큰 WeWork이 그 스탁 마켓에 나간 게 퍼블릭으로 나간 게 한 이제 9개월이 됐다 그러죠. 됐는데 굉장히 힘들잖아요. 지금 팬데믹을 걸치면서. 왜냐하면 오피스를 안 돌아가고 오피스의 디맨드가 떨어지고 그러다 보니까 방향을 틀어서 지금 그 오피스들이 요즘에 그 트렌드인데 무슨 이런 데이터 툴이라든지 다른 그 소프트웨어로 프로덕티비티를 올려주고 하는 그런 쪽의 소프트웨어를 자기네만 쓰고 있었던 게 또 있었던 모양이에요. 그거를 이제 공짜로 랜로드나 테넌트한테 멤버십에 관계없이 지금 오퍼하기 시작했다. 방향을 좀 틀었다는 얘기죠. Okay. The next news is also from Wall Street Journal. U.S. factories are far from recession. We're talking about the recession, but it's a different recession. And this is one of the reasons also is different. U.S. factories are doing okay, doing good. That's what this article says. Historically, even a garden variety of economic slowdowns, meaning a lot of different things happening. So we feel the slowdown. A much less full-blown recession have sent the U.S. manufacturers into a deep funk. In other words, not even full-blown recession. Usually, U.S. factory is in trouble. Usually, okay. So manufacturers first. They feel the recession. That's a historical phenomena. But this time, factories aren't a source of gloom. They are doing good, in other words. ISM, this organization, I think we mentioned this before, Institute for Supply Management. They measures all the supplies from factories, and also they check the inventories in the companies, etc. They're dealing with the supplies. On Monday, it says their index, they reported 52.8 last month, slightly down from June's 53, but still is okay, because above 50 is a breakpoint between manufacturing expansion and contraction. Okay, so it's above 50, it's still good. And the ISM says index readings below 48.7 over a period indicate that GDP is declining. Yet, even through the Commerce Department reported the last week that GDP contracted again in the second quarter after contracting the first quarter. Okay, so GDP now is declined, okay, the second quarter and the first quarter as well. But manufacturing index is in growth territory. So that's why the title says factories are far from recession. And it is a reflection of what a strange state of economy is in now, and of odd juncture that U.S. factories are at. The factories is happy. Their factories are happy. They produce more, and it's very odd juncture. That's their expression. It's different than other recession, if it is recession. 그 미국 내 공장은 불황하고 지금 경기 침체하고 좀 거리가 멀다. 잘 되고 있다라는 얘기죠. 그래서 인덱스 여기 ISM이라고 하는 그 기구에서 자기는 인덱스가 있는데 서플라이 하는 그런 팩토리 액티비티를 매저하는, 근데 그 인덱스가 52.8이었다. 물론 준보다는 준에서 53이었는데 조금 떨어졌지만, 그러나 50 이상이면은 그 이제 포지티브 좋은 상태가 된다고 얘기를 하는데, 지금 그 GDP는 아시지만 우리 올해 들어서 first quarter에도 GDP가 떨어졌고요. the second quarter에도 마찬가지 contract 됐는데, 줄었는데, 그러나 manufacturing index는 성장 모드에 있다. 그러니까 우리 전에도 얘기했지만은 지금 리세션은 다르다, 상태가 지금. 공장들은 또 잘 돌아간다. 이런 그 월스트리트 저널 보고가 있었고요. 조금 빨리 가죠. Fall in job openings signals cooling labor market. Well, so far, another strange thing was job openings are great. The problem was a lack of workers, right? You know this situation. So job openings available, but not enough workers. That was a phenomenon. But job openings now reduced. Okay, number of job openings fell for the third consecutive month in June. And a sign that red-hot U.S. market maybe start to cool off. And the employers posted 10.7 million vacant positions the last day of June, according to Labor Department. But it's still high by historical standard, but sharp drop from May, which was 11.3 million openings, and in March, record high 11.9 million. So March, the job opening was very good, but now is a little bit job openings down. So what they're saying is maybe it cools down a labor market, and the interesting thing is that this drop concentrated in retail. That signals this the consumers shift their spending from goods, like buying goods, materials, things, clothing, and whatever, from goods back to services. Okay. At the pandemic ebbs, as pandemic ebbs, declines, then they shift spending from goods to services. But job openings have also fallen in leisure and hospitality, the sector that was the most strained by labor shortages last year. This sector, service sector, but the job opening also have fallen. 오케이, 지금 그 일자리가 굉장히 많았죠. job 오프닝이 굉장히 1,000만 job 정도, 1,000만 개 job이 오프닝돼 있었다 이렇게 되는데 그 굉장히 더 많았었는데 그것이 이제 조금 줄어들었다. 지금 석 달째 계속 줄어들고 있다고 해요. 그러나 역사적으로 볼 때는 그래도 아직 많다. 그런 지금 상태고요. 제일 지금 그 job 오프닝이 스트러글링 하고 있는 데가 그 섹터가 뭐냐 하면은 이런 리테일 분야다. 리테일 분야면서 또 레저나 호스피탈리티 그쪽에도 job 오프닝이 줄어간다. 전체적인 경향은 컨슈머들이 물건을 사들였던 것에서 이제 벗어나서 서비스 쪽으로 뭐 여행 간다든지 호텔이라든지 그쪽으로 스펜딩을 하게 되는데 거기도 지금 이제 오프닝이 줄어들고 있다. 그런 뉴스였고요. 요거는 그냥 간단히 터치하고 넘어갈 텐데요. The keeping the mortgage in the family. This is odd. Well, I never heard, but it's doable. I thought. For those who can afford a mortgage because of high mortgage rate, within the family, they can give mortgage. Well, I think you need to have a wealthy family members, and then they can be a bank. Instead of they going through the bank, the bank will charge you close to 6% or above 5% interest rate. But you have very rich father or rich uncle, then your father or your uncle can lend you money. Okay, that's what they're saying. But IRS says if they do that, they have to charge interest. So you are getting into the mortgage agreement. Okay, this is possible. So the key thing is structuring the agreement and to treating it as a bona fide loan. So it just treated as a regular loan. Okay. Well, of course, amortization tables available everywhere. You can calculate. You plug interest rate, you plug loan amount, principal and interest. You can calculate. So that's the only way you can get 3% mortgage. That's what they're saying. I don't know practically, maybe Oriental sentiment. How can I give a mortgage to my son? How can I be a bank? I'd rather just give it to him. But maybe Western sentiment, mentality may be different. So IRS rules that way. You have to get into a loan agreement. And if the loan is more than 10,000 and more, the default IRS rules say the parents have to be charged interest. So anyway, this is one way of buying the houses. Some ideas. I don't know how practical this would be. 지금 한 가지 아이디어가 이렇게 이자율이 비싸고 하니까 그 within 미국의 정서로서는 within family에서 론 어그리먼트를 하고 3%로 이제 계산해서 론을 줄 수 있다. 그게 이제 IRS에서 그렇게 하도록 그런 장치가 다 돼 있다는 얘기죠. 그 좀 재밌는 발상인데 글쎄 우리 동양 정서에는 맞지 않을지도 모르겠어요. 그러나 그것도 파스블하다. 그러면 within family이기 때문에 이자는 정하면 되는 모양이에요. 그러니까 3%만 차지한다. 이자율을. 그리고 모기지를 내게 하는 거죠. 그리고 서로 모기저, 모기지가 서로 돼서 formally agreement도 하고 그러면 뭐 모르겠어요. 근데 아들이 페이를 못한다. 그러면 어떻게 해야 되는 거예요? 숏세일을 불러야 되나요? 뭐 그거는 아니고 그 individual can give up to $16,000 to any number of people known as annual gift tax exclusion. 그러니까 gift money를 또 줄 수가 있고 그래서 payment는 if child cannot make payment, parents might make additional gifts of cash keeping under the annual gift tax exclusion threshold. 그건 뭐 조금 우리가 많이 하는 건 아니니까 좀 알아봐야 되겠지만 아무튼 그런 게 있다는 아이디어가 있다는 거고요. Okay, the last news is mortgage rate falls. 30-year is now 5.3%. The mortgage rate fell after rising of 2 straight weeks. Another indication that recession concerns are affecting U.S. housing market. The Freddie Mac said the average rate on 30-year fixed mortgage rate dropped to 5.3%, and that is down from 5.54% last week and below the 13-year high of 5.81% recorded in June. So June, it was recorded high record of 5.81%. Now it's a drop to 5.3%, the sort of official Freddie Mac interest rate. Meantime, last week, investors have piled into U.S. Treasuries, the bond, often seen as a heaven during times of economic uncertainty. The market becomes uncertainty, then investors throw the money into Treasury, buy more Treasury, okay? And then price goes up and the yield of Treasury goes down. So this week, the yield on benchmark 10-year Treasury yield fell to its lowest level since April. So we saw the 10-year Treasury yield rate today went down. So now that's the lowest since April. And U.S. economy shrank for second quarter in a row. GDP we talked about, we already talked about that. Commercial Department said Thursday, GDP from residential investment, including the construction of single and multifamily homes and remodeling, fell 14%. Okay, so among the GDP measures, the different categories, they add up, but among them, there are residential investment and remodeling, single family or multifamily, fell 14%. And this category, residential investment, this category accounts for between 3 to 5% of entire GDP. That's what NAHB said. 그 모기지 레이시 이제 조금 한 떨어지기 시작한 지 한두 주 됐죠. 그래서 그 지금 한 5.3, 프레디 맥의 오피셜한 레이스를 발표한 거는 한 5.3%다. 근데 준에는 5.81까지 올라갔었죠. 레코드 하이였다. 그리고 last week에 그 지금 시장이 uncertainty 할 때 돈이 US 트레저리로 몰리는데 트레저리에 돈이 많이 집어넣어서 그러니까 프라이스가 올라가고 근데 yield는 떨어지고 그래서 10-year 트레저리 yield가 에이프릴 4월 이후로 최저로 떨어졌었다. 그러니까 이자율도 지금 떨어지고 있는 거죠. 이 레지던셜 인베스트먼트 쪽이 GDP에 한 3% 내지 5%를 전체 GDP에 차지한다고 하는데 그 섹터에 지금 그 투자가 14% 떨어졌다. 그런 지금 월스트리트저널 보고가 있었습니다. Okay, this is it for this week news brief from Sealand, and thank you for joining. See you all next week.